Update. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my fiancé for telling her best friend she was not engaged? Original post. My now ex-fiancé, 30 female and I, 27 male, got engaged 3 weeks ago. We had been dating for 5 years, and I finally saved up enough money to give her the wedding she wanted. A few days ago, we were discussing our guest list, and I asked if she wanted to invite her best friend. Let's call him James, 30 male. James lives in another state, but since they had been friends for 10 years, I even offered to pay for his travel expenses, thinking it would be great to have her best friend at the wedding. She declined, saying it would be too much work to bring him, and that she wanted it to be a family event. This surprised me, because she often referred to James as like family to her. I insisted, but she became annoyed and said, I didn't even tell him we were engaged. That took me by surprise, and when I asked why, she started stonewalling me, so I left her alone. After a couple of hours, I tried again to ask why she hadn't told him about our engagement, but she still refused to explain. I admit, my insecurity got the better of me. In the past, James had confessed that he had feelings for her, which she turned down and friend-zoned him. However, the way she talked about it always made me feel like she kept him as a backup, something both I and her exes had noticed. They were married in an online game, World of Warcraft, always made their characters look like a couple, and whenever she had issues with her exes, he was always there for her. I told her that all of this made me uncomfortable, and if she wasn't planning to tell him about our engagement, she might as well consider herself single, because I wasn't going to marry someone who couldn't be honest. I admit, I was being immature, but what she did next was even more so. She texted him while showing me her phone and wrote something like, "Hey, just so you know, I was engaged, but not anymore," and sent it to him. At that point, I told her to pack her things and leave my house. Since she left, she's been calling me, but I've refused to answer. My mom even called me, saying that my ex had called her and told me I was an a-hole for ending things over such a ridiculous reason. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. There is a reason she won't tell her best friend that she plans on getting married. I mean, most women think getting married is one of the biggest things in life and tells everyone she knows. Unless it will put a damper on something. You know, boyfriends hate hearing their girlfriend is getting married. The night I proposed, I am pretty sure that my wife was on the phone before I even heard a yes, with as many people as she could think to call. Not the a-hole. She wanted to keep her backup plan intact. Maybe OP should reach out to James and tell him this, along with copies of any texts she sent to OP confirming this. But that might be my bias talking, because if my best friend just kept me around as a potential backup, I'd kick them to the curb. So your ex-fiancé didn't want to tell her boyfriend about you. Unless you're poly, sounds like a great reason to end an engagement. If you want to confirm that she was cheating, offer to meet up with her for lunch. When you get there, tell her if she wants any chance with you, she needs to unlock her phone, and you read all of her messages between him and her on all media. I'm sure you will find more than enough to confirm that leaving is the best choice. Mini update. Hey guys, I made some dinner and I think I'm going to go with the commenter's advice. I'm going to ask her to meet up and ask to see their messages. And for my mom, I'm already low contact with her, but I'm going to make my decisions after I clear everything up. So I'm kind of promising an update. Now for the first update. Hey guys, I just got home after talking to my, still, ex-fiancé, and since a lot of people asked for an update, here it is. But before that, I want to clarify a few things. As I mentioned in my original post, I pay for the house since I bought it before we started dating, and I asked her to move in because it was closer to her job. I work from home, I'm in tech, but she had to commute, which is why I also paid for a car. Her salary wasn't great, and I thought I was helping out as her partner. I genuinely thought she was the one. Despite everything, she's smart, funny, and we had chemistry, but I felt betrayed. Now for the update. We met at a coffee shop under the pretense of discussing how to save our relationship, or at least that's what she thought. As soon as we sat down, I asked to see the messages between her and James. She got defensive right away and told me she had deleted everything. I asked to see her phone anyway. She started to ugly cry, asking me to stop. By then, I had already decided I wasn't staying in a relationship, but I was still curious. It took about 20 minutes of crying and even a waitress asking if she was okay before she finally handed over her phone. I went through the messages. There wasn't any cheating in the sense of nudes or love confessions, but what I've found still hurt. There were a lot of messages between them talking bad about me. They criticized my hobbies, I like video games and pro wrestling, and called me not a real man because of them. But two things stung the most. One, she had told him I was having trouble getting hard, which she found frustrating. Two, she complained about feeling stuck in a relationship. Yes, I was having issues in bed, but that was because I was grieving. My father passed away 6 months ago. As for the stuck comment, I remember telling her that when she got married, if she wanted, she could leave her job and I would provide for both of us. I don't know if she misunderstood that, but I guess it was related to her feeling stuck. After I finished reading, she started giving excuses for what she said, claiming James was like a therapist for her. She asked, "Don't you complain about me to your friends?" I replied, "No, I don't." She started crying again. I took a deep breath and said, "Just give me the ring back." She hesitated but handed it over. I stood up and told her to delete my number and not to bother me anymore. I called her mom and asked her to come pick up her daughter's things. Her mom is a good person, but I'm realizing as I write this that I'm going to miss her. She understood my decision to end things and didn't ask too many questions, which I appreciated. As for my own mom, I didn't bother calling her. I blocked her for unrelated reasons. I realized she's never really had my back in anything, and I've been trying too hard to save a relationship that's already failed. Before I wrap this up, I just want to clarify. I was never against her having male friends or any type of friends. People will cheat whether they have friends or not. I remember my dad telling me when I was a teenager, opportunity makes the thief, but I don't agree with that. Anyway, I've got the next 2 weeks off work, so I'm going to figure out what to do with the wedding money, drink some booze, play video games, and watch Monday Night Raw later. Peace. Edit. A couple of people have asked about the car. It's a 2015 Nissan Versa and she crashed it twice, both times rear-ending someone. I've never liked that car. The engine's weak, the interior feels cheap, and overall, it's just bad. So honestly, she can keep that piece of junk. I'd probably have better luck throwing it off a cliff than selling it. Dodged a ballistic missile. She did not want to be stuck with you. Then why cry for a marriage she doesn't want? Oh, but she's going to miss the wedding. That's what she wanted. Let's see if her best friend/boyfriend can provide her with one. Oh man, there are 4 billion women in this planet. Be patient. Yours will find her way to you, but not this POS. And a car payment, the free housing, utilities and food, don't forget that. Damn, that Redditor who recommended handing over her phone was spot on. Way to dodge that bullet. Your someone is out there. Second update. Her mom called me a few hours ago to check in and ask when she could come pick my ex's stuff. We also talked about the car, and she pretty much forbid me from letting her daughter keep it. Her reasons were, 1, I paid for it. 2, my ex wouldn't be able to maintain it. So I'm going to keep the car until I can sell it. God help me. Also, some people are confused why could it be a real man for playing games, and yet my ex and James played World of Warcraft. Honestly, that's on me for not being clear enough. The real man comments were more about my pro wrestling hobby than the gaming, but there were some messages where they mocked me for playing certain games, like the Life is Strange series. I remember one message from James where he said something like, "How could a grown man play such a girly game and cry?" Yes, I cried while playing Life is Strange. I also cried during Red Dead Redemption 2. The I'm afraid cutscene still makes me emotional. Guess I'm just a crybaby. I also want to thank everyone who messaged me to talk about wrestling and games. It really helped take my minds off things. I haven't replied to everyone yet, but I plan to. If anything else happens, I'll let you guys know. Be good, people. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to wake my girlfriend up for work, which led her getting fired? I, 26 male, have been in a relationship with my girlfriend Jess, 28 female, for 3 years. Jess and I live together. Jess is not a morning person. This is primarily due to the fact that she's up until 2 or 3 a.m. every day on her phone, despite having to wake up at 8 a.m. I've tried to get her to start going to bed earlier so she could wake up on time, but she says that would leave her no time to do her own things. Seeing as she only works until 4 p.m., this is patently false, but I decided not to press the issue. Generally, I have to wake Jess up. I wake up at 5, run for an hour, get home at 6, shower, eat breakfast, and use my computer a bit. I'll start waking Jess up at around 7:30. I fully understand it's ridiculous to have to wake a 20-year-old woman up, but I honestly don't mind, or at least I wouldn't mind, if it weren't for the fact that waking Jess up is a nightmare. I start by gradually turning on the lights at 7:30, starting with a bedside lamp. Then I begin gently trying to wake her up. If she gets up around this time, she'll go to the bathroom and then I'll go back to the room to find her asleep again. The worst part about waking her up is she's so combative in the morning. She'll use expletives directed at me, insulting me, and then later when I bring up her words, she'll just say, "I was sleepy and out of it. What do you want me to do?" Well, last Friday, she pushed things a bit too far. I was waking Jess up as usual, and when she walked past me to go to the bathroom, she made this exaggerated dry heaving sound at me. Then she said, "You freaking smell. Take a shower." I had already taken a shower and always keep good hygiene. That evening, I told her that our deal with me waking her up every day was done. I was done with her tantrums, done with her insults, and done with her frankly stupid facial expressions with how out of it she was. I told her that I'm not moving a finger to make sure she gets up for work on time. She was naturally upset about this, but I said she could wake herself up. Today was Monday, and lo and behold, she overslept and was over an hour late. Since she had already been written up twice during her probationary period for her job, this was an automatic firing. Around noon, she called me incoherently yelling about how I got her fired. I had to hang up on her to get back to work. When I got home, she immediately started shrieking at me more and then demanded half my salary until she found a better job. I feel like making her go cold turkey on waking up might have been too sudden, and apparently, she really liked the job she had. Should I have at least tried to wake her up? Boss, I'ma be real. She just sounds abusive. Not only does she sound abusive, but also incredibly incompetent. You're not her mom, not the a-hole. Even a mom or dad shouldn't have to wake up a 28-year-old adult every morning to get to work. Not the a-hole, and she sounds pretty toxic. Are you sure this is a relationship that makes you happy? When I filed for divorce, moved out, etc., X and I still talked frequently. One day she asked, "Are you happy now?" I answered honestly, I am less unhappy now than any time in the last 5 years. Obviously, that was the length of our marriage. I think she had an epiphany with that, and I didn't hear from her again really. I remember when I was married and my then husband and I saw an old married couple, and he said something like how romantic it was to be married for that long, and that he couldn't wait for us to grow old together. I remember feeling dread wash over me. The realization that I would be in this hell for 60 more years? 60 more years with him felt like a prison sentence. But that comment forced me to really look at my life and marriage and make a decision on if I was willing to keep being miserable forever or not. I left him about a year later. Even at my saddest point since my divorce, it's still happier than my best day with him. I'm so glad I chose happiness. Last story. Am I the a-hole for asking my girlfriend to move out because she started a career as an influencer and stopped respecting my privacy? I've been living with my girlfriend for 2 years. In the beginning, everything was great. We got along well, spent time together, and had a good balance between our personal lives and our relationship. But a few months ago, she started working on becoming an influencer. At first, it was just a fun hobby, posting some pictures, making a few videos, nothing too serious. I supported her and was happy she found something she enjoyed. But things quickly got out of hand. Our apartment has now become her personal studio. Every corner needs to be perfect for photos, and every room is a potential background for vlogs. When I came home tired from work, all I want to do is relax. But she immediately puts a camera in my face because she's filming content. Even our private conversations are often recorded without me knowing, and later I find them posted in her videos. It got really awkward when she shared part of a conversation where I talked about something deeply personal, which I didn't expect to be made public. I've tried talking to her about it, but she always brushes it off, saying I'm overreacting and that is just part of her job. She says I should be more supportive. Over time, this has really worn me down. I feel like there's no space left in our home where I can relax without worrying about being filmed or photographed. A few days ago, after yet another incident where I was caught on camera, I decided to have a serious talk with her. I told her that I understand her influencer career is important to her now, but for me, it's becoming too much. I suggested that maybe she should consider moving out, not because I want to break up, but because I need some privacy in a place where I don't feel like I'm always being watched. She flipped out. She called me selfish, accused me of not supporting her career, and said I was trying to control her. She even accused me of sabotaging her success instead of being proud of her achievements. Now we're barely speaking, and I feel like my boundaries and needs aren't being respected at all. I understand that her job excites her, but am I really the a-hole for just wanting some privacy and space in my own home? Am I the a-hole? No, you're not the a-hole here at all. She's delusional to accuse you of that. She's showing her character not respecting your boundaries. Exactly, it should be so that when I come home, I have some privacy. She could rent an apartment specifically for filming to keep some sense of privacy. If she needs to film you, then she's not the influencer. You are. What has she discussed with you about sharing her ad revenue and other income from these videos? You can be supportive, but my significant other doesn't come to my job and do my job for me. That's a wild expectation on her part. Being supportive would be like sacrificing half the kitchen table to set up as her backdrop or something. So it looks like she has an office. She can just fake the backdrop. Drop this chick ASAP. This girl needs constant attention and validation. Your compliance is not requested. It is being demanded, despite your legitimate concerns. Get rid of her. It's a very difficult decision for me because I love her so much, and I wish we could work things out. You are not the a-hole for wanting privacy in your own home. It's completely reasonable to expect a living space free from constant filming and recording, especially without your explicit consent. Exactly. Home should be a place where we can maintain a certain level of anonymity, not a space where we're constantly exposed online.